The night was cold. The wind was sharp, blowing dust through the empty streets. Streetlights flickered above, casting a dull yellow light on the footpath. Most people were inside their warm homes, but one woman sat outside, alone, holding a small child in her arms. Her name was Ronnie. She wasn't always like this. Just a year ago, she was a school teacher. She had a job, a small apartment, and a happy little family. But life doesn't always follow a plan. Her husband died suddenly in a factory accident. Bills piled up, she lost her home, and now she was homeless, walking from street to street with her 5-year-old son, Arian. Ronnie sat on the cold ground beside a closed shop. She placed her back against the wall and wrapped her thin shawl tightly around her son. He was sleeping, his head resting on her lap. She gently brushed his hair and whispered softly, "Don't worry, my love. Mama is here. You're safe." Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from cold and pain. She looked up. Cars passed by. Some people walked quickly, pretending not to see her. No one stopped. No one cared. To them, she was invisible. Just another poor woman with a dirty child. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten all day. Her son had a small piece of bread in the afternoon. That was all she had managed to find. She looked at the sky. It was full of stars, but none of them belonged to her anymore. She sighed. She didn't cry. Her tears had dried up weeks ago. Then, suddenly, she heard the sound of a loud engine. A black luxury car, big, shiny, and expensive, came speeding down the narrow street. It slowed as it reached the corner, then stopped directly in front of her. The engine kept running. The headlights were bright and blinding. Ronnie lifted her hand to cover her eyes. Her son woke up, startled, and began to cry softly. A voice shouted from inside the car, "Hey, get away from there! You're blocking the view!" Ronnie's eyes widened. She stood up quickly, still holding Arian close to her chest. "Please, sir," she said. "My child is here. He's scared. We're not hurting anyone." She stepped back, trying to move toward the edge of the sidewalk, but the car inched forward. Slowly, the big tires moved closer. The headlights stayed on full beam. Ronnie held her son tighter. "Please, please don't come forward. He's only a child." Her voice shook. Inside the car, the driver did not reply. The engine roared louder. The car crept even closer. Ronnie froze. There was nowhere else to go. Behind her was a wall. In front of her, this car, large and heavy, like a monster in the dark. She bent down to shield Arian with her body. "Please," she screamed now. "You'll hurt him. Please stop." The car stopped. For a moment, everything was quiet. Even the wind paused. The engine was still running, but the car didn't move again. Then, the driver's door opened. A tall man stepped out. He was wearing a black coat and shiny shoes. His watch sparkled under the streetlight. His face was clean-shaven, proud and cold. Ronnie recognized him. It was Arjun Verma, the young billionaire whose face appeared in newspapers and online ads. He owned companies, hotels, and malls across the country. Everyone admired him. But no, one knew who he really was. Arjun looked down at Ronnie, who was still holding her son tightly. "This is private property," he said coldly. "You shouldn't be sleeping here." "I'm sorry, sir," Ronnie whispered. "I have nowhere to go." He raised his eyebrows. "Not my problem." He took out his wallet. He pulled out a shiny coin. Just one. He flicked it toward her. It rolled on the ground and stopped at her feet. "That should be enough for people like you," he said. Then he turned around and walked back to his car. Ronnie looked at the coin. Her son clutched her shoulder tightly. She didn't pick up the coin. Instead, she just stared at the man walking away. But as Arjun reached his car door, he stopped. He looked back one more time. His eyes landed on Arian. Something about the boy's face. Something familiar. He stared longer than expected, then shook his head and got into his car. The door shut. The engine roared once again. Ronnie stepped back. Was he going to drive away now, or would he drive through them? She didn't know. Her body trembled. Not just from fear, but from not knowing what this man would do next. The car door slammed shut. Ronnie held her breath as the black car's engine growled again. She didn't move. Her arms were tight around Aryan. His small fingers were clutching her scarf, eyes wide with fear. The man in the car, Arjun Verma, the millionaire, put both hands on the steering wheel. His eyes stared forward, but his mind seemed elsewhere. Seconds passed. He didn't drive. He looked into the rearview mirror, back at Ronnie, back at the child. His face was hard, but his fingers trembled. Something about that boy. Those eyes. Where had he seen that look before? Inside the car, Arjun shook his head. "This is nonsense," he whispered to himself. "They're just beggars." But something inside him wasn't letting go. Ronnie stepped forward, careful not to get too close. "Suritai, please don't hurt us. I wasn't trying to block you. I was just trying to let my son sleep somewhere warm." Arjun didn't answer. Instead, he opened the glove box, pulled out a business card. Then, slowly, he opened the window, just enough to pass it through. "Here," he said without looking at her. Ronnie stared at the card. "What is this?" "You need help. That's a number to one of my managers. He runs a shelter on the east side. Go tomorrow morning. Maybe they'll find a bed for you." Ronnie looked down at the card in her hand. It was thick, clean, expensive. Gold letters shined under the streetlight. I don't have bus fare to go across the city," she said quietly. Arjun's eyes narrowed. He pulled out his wallet again. This time he gave her a few hundred rupee notes. "Use that. That's all," he said firmly. Then, without waiting, he started the car and drove away. The sound of the engine faded into the night. Ronnie stood there in silence. She looked at the money in her hand, and the card. Her heart beat fast. Not because of the money, but because of the strange way that man had looked at her son. Something about it didn't feel normal. She sat back down on the sidewalk, pulled her son close again, and covered him with the shawl. As she rocked him gently, she kept glancing at the card. "Why did he give this to us?" she whispered. "Why now?" Next morning. The sun rose, but the air was still cold. Ronnie woke up early. Aryan was still sleeping, curled up beside her. She stood, stretched her sore back, and looked at the card again. She had made up her mind. She would go. She carefully picked up her son, folded the little blanket, and started walking. It took her nearly an hour to reach the bus stop. Her legs were tired, but her heart was filled with small hope. She gave the money to the bus driver and sat at the back seat with Aryan. As the bus moved, she looked out the window. Buildings passed. People hurried. But Ronnie couldn't stop thinking about the man in the black car. His voice, his coldness, and the way he stared at Aryan, almost like he knew him. "Do you know him, Mama?" Aryan asked softly. Ronnie blinked. "No, sweetheart, I don't." But she was lying, she wasn't sure. Meanwhile, inside a tall glass building on the other side of the city, Arjun Verma stood in front of a large office window. He held a cup of black coffee, but he hadn't taken a sip. He was thinking about the woman and her child. His assistant walked in. "Sir, your 9 a.m. meeting, cancel it," Arjun interrupted. The assistant blinked. Arjun never canceled meetings. "Is something wrong, sir?" Arjun turned slowly. "Get me the file from 5 years ago, the charity case, the one involving the woman who sued my father's hospital." The assistant nodded, confused. "Yes, sir." Arjun sat down behind his desk. He rubbed his eyes. He didn't know why, but something about that woman triggered an old memory. A lawsuit, a child, a cover-up, and a name. "Ronnie," he whispered. He hadn't heard that name in years. The car didn't stop at first. Its headlights glared into Ronnie's eyes, making her squint. The engine growled and her heart raced. She tightened her hold around Aryan, her 5-year-old son. Her body was shaking, not from the cold anymore, but from fear. Then, finally, the black car came to a full stop, just inches from her. The door opened slowly. A man stepped out. He wore a black coat, leather gloves, and expensive shoes. His face was sharp, proud, and cold. His name was Arjun Mehra, a powerful real estate millionaire in the city. He looked down at Ronnie like she was dirt on the road. "What are you doing here?" he asked in a deep voice. "You're blocking my path." Ronnie stood, still holding Arian. I'm sorry, sir," she said quickly. "My son was sleeping. I didn't see the car." Arjun's eyes flicked toward the child. Arian was awake now, scared, peeking from under his mother's scarf. "Then move," Arjun said flatly. "This isn't a place for beggars." Ronnie swallowed. Her pride. "Please, sir, we have no home. He hasn't eaten since yesterday." Arjun looked away as if he didn't care. "That's not my problem." Ronnie's eyes watered, but she stayed calm. "Please, just a little food for him. You can. Go, we'll disappear." Arjun reached into his coat pocket. For a second, Ronnie thought he was going to give money. Instead, he pulled out his car keys and walked back to the door. "Don't block my way again." But just as he stepped in, Arian whispered something. Ronnie didn't hear it, but Arjun did. The small voice had said, "Papa." Arjun froze. His hand stopped on the car door. Ronnie blinked, confused. "What did you say, Arian?" The boy hid his face in her scarf. "I don't know, Mama. I just felt it. That man. He looks like the one from my dreams." Arjun's face went pale. He sat inside the car and shut the door but didn't start the engine. He stared into the steering wheel, breathing heavily. Then suddenly the window rolled down. Ronnie stood frozen, her arms wrapped protectively around Arian as Arjun Mehra slowly stepped into the room. Mr. Bakshi stayed silent by the door, watching everything carefully. The boy looked up curiously. "Who is he, Mama?" Arian asked. Ronnie didn't answer. Her lips trembled, her eyes locked with Arjun's. So much pain, so many questions. He looked at Arian with wide eyes, as if trying to memorize every inch of his face. He took a step forward, then another. Ronnie backed away slightly. Her heart pounded. "I'm not here to take him," Arjun said quietly. "Please, I just want to talk." Pain of the past, they all sat in the shelter's small office. Arian sat nearby playing with crayons Mr. Bakshi had given him. Arjun looked at Ronnie, then slowly pulled something from his wallet, a torn photo. It was the same photo Ronnie kept in her bag. 2 sisters. 1 man. "You're Ronnie," he said softly. "Mira's twin." Ronnie nodded. "And he's—" Arjun glanced at Arian. His voice broke. "He's my son, isn't he?" Ronnie couldn't speak. She pulled out the letter Mira had written. Arjun read it. His hands trembled. His lips moved, silently as he read each word. When he finished, he wiped his eyes. "I didn't know she was pregnant," he whispered. "I loved her, I would have protected her, but she disappeared. I think she tried to protect you," Ronnie said. They sat in silence, until Arjun looked at Arian again and said, "Can I talk to him?" Ronnie nodded slowly. The first conversation, Arjun sat beside the boy. "Hi there," he said gently. "I'm Arjun." Arian smiled. "I'm Arian. I'm 5. Arjun chuckled, but tears filled his eyes again. "You're very smart," he said. "Do you like stories?" Arian nodded. "Mama tells me stories every night about stars and brave kings." Arjun's heart ached. "That's good," he whispered. "Because you're a brave prince, Arian." The boy laughed. "Are you a king?" Arian asked. Arjun looked at Ronnie, then at the ceiling. "No, but once I lost my queen." Mr. Bakshi's discovery. As the two spoke, Mr. Bakshi stepped outside to answer a phone call. When he came back, his face was pale. "There's something you both should know," he said carefully. "I checked the security footage from the night Arian was left at Ronnie's door 5 years ago." Ronnie's eyes widened. "There was a car nearby, the license plate. It was from the Mehra estate." Arjun stood up. "What are you saying?" "I think someone from your own house, sir, knew Mira was pregnant. Someone didn't want the child to reach you." Arjun clenched his fists. "My own people?" Ronnie's fears that night as Ronnie and Arian returned to their room, her heart was heavy again. Arjun seemed kind, gentle, honest. But now, powerful people were involved. People who had tried to hide the truth. People who might not stop even now. She looked at Aryan, fast asleep again. Would she lose him? Would Arjun take him away? Or would something worse happen if they stayed too close? The next morning started with a strange silence. Rani woke up before Aryan. She sat on the small bed and stared out the window. The city was already awake. Horns, buses, the sound of shoes on the street. But something felt wrong. A black car was parked just outside the shelter. Not Arjun's. This one had dark windows. No one could see inside. Rani's heart skipped a beat. She woke Aryan gently. Come on, baby, let's brush your teeth. An unexpected visitor. Rani walked Aryan to the washroom. Mr. Bakshi came running from the lobby. He looked worried. Rani, he whispered. Someone's here. He's asking for you and Aryan. Rani's eyes widened. Who? I don't know. He didn't give his name, but he showed me a gold badge. Said he works for the Mehra estate. Rani froze. Her stomach turned. He's not Arjun? She asked. No, someone older, cold eyes. Said he wants to take Aryan somewhere safe on Arjun's orders. That can't be true, she whispered, face to face with danger. The man stood near the entrance of the shelter. Sharp suit, black gloves, hair slicked back, and a face that never smiled. He looked like someone used to giving orders. He spotted Rani and walked toward her. Miss Rani, he asked. Yes, she said carefully. I'm Mr. D'Souza. I work for Mr. Arjun Mehra. Where is Arjun? He had an emergency. He asked me to bring Aryan to him at the estate, immediately. Rani stepped back, holding Aryan tight. No, she said firmly. Arjun would have called me. Mr. D'Souza's smile vanished. You don't understand, miss. This is not a request. He reached into his coat and showed a paper, some kind of legal document. It had a stamp, a lawyer's name. I have custody orders. Mr. Bakshi steps in before Rani could speak. Mr. Bakshi walked between them. You need to leave, he said to Mr. D'Souza. We don't allow threats in this shelter. This paper is legal, and this is a protected space, Mr. Bakshi interrupted. Get a court date, come back the right way, or I'm calling the police. Mr. D'Souza's eyes narrowed. Fine, he said. But you're making this harder than it needs to be, he turned to Rani. Just know this, people like you don't win, not against us. And then he walked out. Truth from the past that night, Rani couldn't sleep. She sat beside Aryan, watching him breathe. Her thoughts raced. Why would someone from Arjun's house try to take Aryan? Was it about inheritance, money, or was it someone who had always hated Mehra? Her phone buzzed, a message from Arjun. I just heard that man doesn't work for me. I'm on my way. Don't let Aryan out of your sight. Her hands shook as she read it. Arjun wasn't behind this, but someone powerful was, and they weren't going to stop. Plans in motion. The next morning Arjun arrived. This time he wasn't alone. He brought lawyers, real ones, with proof, the custody. Document from Mr. D'Souza, fake. Created using old signatures from the estate's files. Arjun looked furious. I know who did this, he said. My uncle. He controls part of the business. He never liked Mehra, thought she was beneath our family. He paused. And now he sees Aryan as a threat. Rani's heart raced. A threat? But he's just a boy. Arjun nodded. A boy who now stands between my uncle and the full inheritance. A new offer. That evening Arjun made a decision. He sat with Rani while Aryan played with blocks nearby. I want to protect him, Arjun said. But I can't do it alone. Rani watched him carefully. I'm not asking you to give him up. I'm asking you to trust me. What are you offering? She asked. I want you both to move in, to my estate, with full security, and with your own space. Rani blinked. Live in a mansion? She whispered. Leave safely, he corrected, where no one can touch Aryan. Rani looked at her son. So innocent, so unaware of the war being fought over him. She had always protected him alone, but now, maybe she didn't have to anymore. The night was quiet. Ronnie sat alone in the small shelter room. Arian was asleep, curled up on the thin mattress. Her mind was heavy. She thought about Arjun's offer, to live in a big house with security, to give Arian a safe life. But could she trust him? Could she trust anyone? A visit from the past suddenly. A soft knock came at the door. Ronnie opened it carefully. It was Arjun. He held a small box wrapped with a blue ribbon. "For Arian," he said softly. Ronnie smiled faintly and invited him in. Arjun sat beside her and looked at Arian sleeping. "I know this has been hard," he said, "but I want to do what is right." Ronnie looked into his eyes. There was honesty there, and pain. The choice Arjun handed the box to Ronnie. Inside was a small golden crown, just like the one Arian had played with. "He's a prince," Arjun said, "and he deserves to be treated like one." Ronnie held the crown carefully. She felt tears well up. "This world is not kind," she whispered, "but maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for a better life, a new beginning." The next morning, Ronnie packed their few belongings. Arian woke up curious. "Where are we going, Mama?" "To a new home," she said. They walked outside. The black car was waiting. This time, it was Arjun driving. As they got in, Ronnie looked back at the shelter. Her heart was heavy but hopeful. Facing the unknown at the estate, Ronnie met people she never imagined. Guards, helpers, a big house full of rooms. Arjun showed her Arian's new room, bright and full of toys. Arian's eyes sparkled. "Thank you, Mama," he said. Ronnie smiled. For the first time, she felt safe. The warning later, Arjun took Ronnie aside. "We still have enemies," he said quietly. "People who don't want Arian here." Ronnie nodded. She wasn't naive. She would fight for her son, no matter what. The future days passed. Ronnie learned about the estate. She saw Arjun's kindness and his strength. But deep inside she wondered, could love really grow from such a broken past? Could they all heal? Would Arian ever know the peace he deserved?